Let's be honest, the thrill of the hunt is like the biggest aspect of Dead by Daylight and why it's so fun. Whether you're the hunter or the hunted, that's like the whole premises of the game. So if you don't enjoy looping on the survivor side, there's a good chance that you just haven't gotten the handle of it yet, just haven't quite grasped the concept of the art of looping. And that's fine. That's what I'm here for. Hey, what it do, what it do, what it do, it's ya boy Q, and welcome back to YouTube, Bog Dwellers. Look, today we get to talk about my favorite thing on the survivor side of Dead by Daylight, and I think it's most survivors' favorite part of Dead by Daylight. Anyone who's hung out on our channel over on Twitch, where we do indeed stream 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. As always, link for that's going to be down in the description below. Y'all know I love looping. A survivor's ability to turn any chase into like a 45, 65, maybe even a 75 second or 90 plus second event can completely turn a game around, even when the momentum's entirely on the killer's side. Or if you can go early game, you can get a killer to overcommit to a chase that they probably shouldn't take or one that they won't win for a long time. You have the ability to turn things heavily into the survivor's favor really quick, as long as your teammates are able to, hold M1 and hit a couple skill checks. The added pressure can cause killers to completely break away from their game plan and make a mistake. Drop a kneel or two to assert dominance, and for some killers, common sense and game plan go completely out the window. But today, I want to talk about some looping basics. We will talk some killer-specific basic looping tricks, but I really also want to focus on the TNL wall today. Once you get the hang of a TNL wall and making the decisions there, because it is the most balanced tile in a game, it allows you to make better decisions at pretty much any other tile on the map. If you do find this video useful, do me a favor, leave a like and a comment below. That's going to help us out with that good old YouTube algorithm, get our content in front of more people, hopefully help some more people out with what I think a lot of people tend to struggle with when they first get into the game, which is looping. So it helps everyone out. But let's get into some tips and tricks. First off, I gotta be honest with y'all, you guys gotta stop stealthing around and playing scared. Look, I know it's a horror game, but as we talked about in one of our recent videos here, you only have 400 seconds of objective time that a collective of 4 survivors need to do. So if you're able to take the killer for a nice little fun run in the fog, you're going to allow your other teammates to start working towards getting those 400 seconds done. A really good tip that applies to really a lot of things in life definitely applies here, which is anything worth being good at is worth being bad at first. You're going to get your butt whipped from time to time, and when you're first starting to get the hang of looping, I can guarantee you're going to get your butt whipped a lot. But that's okay. Hold the L, be humble, be fair and honest with yourself, and learn your lessons. That way you can get better for the next one. Because if you're anything like me, I know I didn't really start taking looping or anything like that serious until I was a boosted little red rank, or maybe I was a purple rank, I don't even remember. First off, that's perfectly fine. Stop letting a cartoon number dictate your worth, and most importantly, it's a game. Have fun with it. Put yourself in some chases, get better, win or lose. It's going to help you improve those skills, I promise. And while we're talking about some of the basics of looping, let's talk about the number one thing we got to prioritize, which is getting used to hugging walls and other objects really tight while looping. In some cases, this is going to prevent you from needing to throw a pallet at least for an extra trip or two around said loop, which is going to buy you more time and precious distance. Now, hugging the walls nice and tight is going to make it easier to look behind you, which we got to start getting in the habit of, because when you look behind you, you already know what's in front of you and what you're looping, but the most important thing is reading what the killer's doing, seeing what decisions they're making. That way you can counter with another decision for yourself. Towards the back end of this video, we're going to talk a lot about decision making based off of what you see behind you. So make sure you're getting used to doing that, because the easier it is for you to keep looping and going the way you want to in front of you while also checking behind you is going to really help make it so you can make the best decision to prolong your chases. And also, while we're at it, stop wasting pallets. Look, I get it, especially when you first start playing. It feels super good to get that stun, see the reaction from the killer, but you got to stop camping those pallets too, because when you're sitting there, it's going to get you hit more than you think it should, which is just going to get you aggravated. Plus, if you're not camping the pallets, a lot of times, like I said before, this is going to help you get an extra rotation or two around said tile or said object that you're looping, and it's going to help you save some more time before you have to waste a precious resource. Also, Don't drop a pallet after you get hit. I know it's kind of like habit. When you get hit, you want to drop it to leave yourself a little bit of a barrier between you and the killer. But once he hits you, you're going to get a speed boost for a couple of seconds. You don't want to waste valuable time that you could be running ahead at 150% of your normal speed by taking that time to turn around and go through the animation of dropping a pallet. Also, you only get so many pallets on a map at a time, so stop wasting those resources. Especially God pallet. Yeah, you. I know you've probably dropped that God pallet once or twice before the first or second gen's been done and on your very first hook. Look, even if the basement's there, that's perfectly fine. Take your L, take the down, make that killer take the time to get you down into the basement while your teammates work on some gens, and when they have the time, they'll come get you, and you'll have that pallet there for later in the game because Shack is one of the strongest tiles in the game, so you want to have that extra resource of God pallet there for when you do need it in the end game. I promise you, there's nothing that's going to get your killer all wet in the southern region than seeing you waste one of the most valuable resources in the game at 5 and 4 gens left. But let's actually get into some things here and actually start breaking down some videos and going over some decision making. All right, so here you're going to see that we're using the Shack, hugging it nice and tight, making sure that we're getting the most out of our distance. We're using the boarded window here to kind of peek through. We see Nemesis coming, so we're going to go ahead and continue our loop. Instead of staying here at Killer Shack, which is a very strong loop, we are going to break away since we know we have a couple of tiles here with some pallets. You'll see again here that by us hugging the loop nice and tight, we're going to be able to get a couple extra rotations out of it as well.
Get started again, dummy, let's go!
Now, we were able to catch the Nemesis, not paying attention since he tried to moonwalk backwards, but since we were paying attention to the killer, we were able to go ahead and get this done and build distance. You'll notice that we did go wide there in order to be able to make that window and get the fast vault instead of a slow vault.
Oh, get juked again, stupid!
We'll go over motions to be able to avoid swings like the 360. That was a wider 360 that we saw there, but we'll go over things like that in a later video. So if you're looking forward to that, do me a favor and press that subscribe button and turn those notifications on so we can catch you right back here. Now, since we did get caught on the corner of the TNL wall, what's going to happen is we do take a hit, but we're going to use it to build up maximum distance. We're going to run straight through Killer Shack. You'll see us take the loop a little wide here. That way we would have had the ability to go through the window on another fast vault. And unfortunately, we forgot that we had Dead Hard and we're not able to use it there to continue that loop any longer. Now you'll see here that we did notice a couple of downed pallets around while we were running to the shack here. It's important because we're actually going to use those later. Again, we're going to take this wide. That way we can head straight to the window and get the fast vault instead of a slower or medium vault. You have to be going straight at it and be running for a couple steps in order to get the fast vault, which makes it harder to be hit through the window. Of course, we are continuing to keep our camera backwards, and basically we're just countering every movement that the Nemesis makes here in order to keep the most distance between us and him.
Shit, I got stuck. What the...
It's better than nothing. Now here we're going to build a little bit of distance after getting the borrowed time save. We do have a teammate that takes a hit, so right now we do have all 3 players in the map injured, which is why it's going to be very crucial that we take this Nemesis for a nice little fun run and waste some time so we can get a full reset. Now you'll see when we come through here, we'll see some broken pallet on the ground, which means we know we don't have a pallet here, which is why we're going to vault this window and move on to the next tile.
They're very close to us, by the way.
Now, since we know that Nemesis is breaking pallets here at this point and able to hit us through the wall, we're not going to stay at the TNL. And we are going to go ahead and throw Shack pallet, which is luckily still up because we did not waste it early like we talked about earlier in the video.
Wraith, it's coming. Where'd you go?
Now you're going to see here we're holding this tight until we're coming around the corner. We're setting up to go straight at the window. Since we don't see the stain, we're going to reverse the side that we're looping. Go to the inside, and again, we swing it wide so we can get the fast vault.
Not Susie! God damn it, Susie, leave us alone.
And that time allowed us to be able to get a heal, and the other heal was done shortly afterwards. Now we're going to do a little bit of TNLing here with our Billy. You're going to see that we're going to fake the very first vault on the T-wall. Usually it's best to fake on your first one because usually they're going to anticipate you to vault right away.
Hit him with the fakie, chat!
And since we faked the first one, we're going to go ahead and take the second one, which baits out the hit. Same thing with the second time on the T-wall here. He's going to expect us to fake, so he kind of hesitates, which gives us enough time to go through the window.
You don't know what's up. Yeah, get work, baby.
Now we are going to assemble the hook, and what we're also going to do is we're going to move to the next closest hook here. And we're going to bait out the Billy to drop our friend, which is going to allow us to give our team more time to get a complete reset. While we're chasing here, we do know that we have a longer tile over in the hay just because we do have some map awareness from playing the game a lot. And since we're able to bait out a swing, I should have been able to get another smooth loop around the hay, but since I got caught in the corner, we had to go ahead and use our dead hard. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate to the far side of our shack. We're going to try and use our window to kind of look and see where we can find a red stain, which we do locate him coming on the non-pallet side. And since he sees us really hugging the wall tight and looping this shack here tight, he decides to go ahead and break chase. Now here we'll see that we have somebody on the hook, which means we have somebody going for the hook, and that should be able to get the heal as long as we can make this loop last a while.
Yep, re-ring your bell because you're trash at looping. We get it. Cool.
Now we hear the Wraith in his form, but he's not out of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to build as much distance, causes him to swing over on the opposite side of this tile. Fortunately, since he did a good job of hiding his red stain, we didn't want to do one more loop and risk getting hit away from the pallet.
We did too. You said, oh, wow.
Now you'll see here we do an extra loop even though he's coming out of his power. Luckily, since he decided to go ahead and swing, we were able to get a little bit more distance. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually throw this pallet a little bit early just because we're on the far side of the map from everybody else. Play a little bit more safe. Again, first option to bait out the vault, which is going to get the Wraith to actually decide to go ahead and break the pallet instead, which we can use that time to get valuable distance. Now, the Wraith does probably uncloak a little bit early here. I think he was just waiting to see if we were going to bait and double back. Instead, we get to another pallet. Good thing we throw this pallet when we do because we can see that the Wraith's right on our rear end. At this point, we have caused the Wraith to go ahead and decide to break chase, which gives us time to do other things. Now, here on Dead Dog Saloon, when we go for the save, we do see that we have Kate is going to be obviously hurt getting off the hook, and the Spirit's right there. So we go with the body block.
Spirit Fury. Perfect,
Now, the Spirit Fury does, of course, eliminate a little bit of the time that our Spirit has to break the pallet. So that means that we don't have as much time to loop around our next tile. So we do throw that tile, which prevents us from getting hit. We're going to kneel to assert dominance to make them go ahead and forget about the injured player that's behind them and invest in chase. Since we're waiting to read the Spirit's actions here, we're going to be able to only get one loop around, but it does make us play nice and safe. We get another stun as well, and we don't leave the pallet until we see that she goes to break it. Now, we do a good job of faking this window here, and if it weren't for the broken door being open, though, we'd probably still take a hit there regardless. In retrospect, we probably should have just taken that vault.
Ah, thick.
Since we do hear the Spirit phasing, we know we got to find either a pallet or a vault to build a little distance. So we're in a vault here, and we know we can go left or right. So we give a little fake to our right that causes the Spirit to commit that way, and then we go to our left. This time when we vault, what we're going to do is just go ahead and go the way that we decide to show. That way it's not the same double back like we just had, which allows us to get to this pallet, cause another stun, and now she's stopping to break it while we break and build distance. While we're talking about the Spirit, though, let's go ahead and talk about some killer-specific tips and tricks here. This was from earlier in the same game. Again, you'll see us holding our loop tight, which gets us an extra loop around the carriage here. After the stun, our Spirit's going to act like she's going into phase, but since her neck isn't twitching...
She's not phasing. She wasn't doing her...
Her neck twitching is when you know that she's going into her phase walk. So if she's just standing there without twitching... all she's doing is simply standing there, waiting for you to make a mistake.
Thanks for getting me farmed.
But let's talk about some other killer-specific tips and tricks. Here we do have an Oni. Unfortunately, we did get pulled off a hook with him in the area. We were able to bait a swing at the T-wall here, and now he goes into his power. So knowing that Oni has his power, that's when he sprints and goes for the power slam, which is a one-hit down. However, Oni doesn't have a very good turn radius when he's like that. So you're going to see that we're going to use our tighter turns, especially even around the piece that's outside from the TNL, in order to build distance. We are going to double back at the T-wall and gets just enough hesitation out of our Oni, so we're able to make it back around this corner.
Yo, my butthole just puckered up a little bit, chat.
We are going to do the double vault through the TNL to build the extra distance, put more stuff between us and him. And since we were able to keep our loop nice and tight, he misses that hit as well. Unfortunately, we don't get a fast vault here because we were not able to go straight at the window and took it at an angle, which caused us to get the medium vault, which caused us to get downed.
Do you have head on?
Now, one killer that's going to be a little tricky, especially with the new buff coming, is going to be Trickster. So we see that he's throwing knives here. What we're going to go ahead and do is drop a pallet because this is a long tile. It gives us plenty of area where we can either put these taller items between us and him, or we can even crouch to avoid the knives as well. Now you'll see, yet again, the first chance we get to vault, we're actually going to fake it, which is causes him to double back. Since we have enough distance on this big tile, he's going to break the pallet, which breaks any bloodlust that he might have gained. Once we go through the window here, I want you to really pay attention to how we're looking back while we're looping around this tile. This is one of the jungle gyms that are very strong. So you'll see here, we're looking behind us. We see the red stain. We don't see it there, so we're going to double back, which actually avoids us getting hit. Same thing. We don't see the stain behind us, so we're going to double back.
I promise you I can loop better than you, kid.
Trickster here isn't committing to any loop, which allows us to break away. Now, one of the toughest killers to loop is, of course, going to be the nurse, and she breaks all rules when it comes to having to go around items, go around tiles, and stuff like that. So what you're going to see that we try our best to do is continually keep walls and objects between us and her. Now, she does get her first hit that she probably shouldn't have got, but that's fine. We get a very rare stun on the nurse because we were right by the pallet there, and we knew that that was going to be our blink distance. But even here, you see we break line of sight and then double back from where she came, and then we hold the wall very tight on the T-wall so she has no idea where we're going. And even here, once we see her blink, we continue to put trees, rocks, and things like that so she doesn't know where we're going. And we even double back here once we hear that she's going into her blink animation, but she has no line of sight.
Yo, she quit.
Now, while we're talking about making killers quit, let's go ahead and really break down into the art of the TNL. The TNL wall, you have one wall that looks like a T, one that looks like an L. Honestly, the most balanced tile in the game because both the killer and the survivor can make decisions and, you know, do some mind games to trick the other in order to either get a hit or stay safe. Here we do see the Bubba trying to cover up his red stain in order to get a hit through the window. But since we were able to keep an eye on his location, we didn't fall for it. Now, we are going to go through the TNL. We have a good distance between us and him, so we're actually going to fake the T-wall here, which causes him to go around the outside, and we're able to go through the L-wall in order to get more distance. Since we did fake the last one, we're actually going to go ahead and jump through the L this time. Baits out the hit.
Let's go. Oh, shit,
and then same thing on the next time around on the T. There's no reason to bait that there. And here we do have a good amount of distance, but since we know that we've already faked it and baited out the swing on the T-wall, we're actually going to hit it one more time. And this time, since we know he swung the last couple times, we went ahead and decided to double back with the fake there.
He just gave up. Let's go.
So here we're going to go into a little longer loop here with the Wraith, which is in the beginning of the game. Since we know he's going to get his Mondo lunge coming out of his stealth there, we're going to go ahead and throw that pallet just a wee bit early, which actually gets the stun in this case.
Yep, cling clong in his bell because he's bad at looping. Yep.
We see he decides to double back, so we go towards the next tile, which actually happens to be a TNL here.
TNL with me, baby.
You'll see we commit to the first loop. We see him doubling back because we're looking behind us, so we're able to double back as well.
I promise you I will loop the f*** out of you at a TNL.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually take this and dive along the wall, trying to see if he commits to that chase. Even if he had committed to the first one, we should have made it to the L wall, but we doubled back because we didn't see his red stain. And here we're able to make it to the L wall, jump through, and after seeing the first gen pop, he does decide to go ahead and disengage because he doesn't want to lose too much map pressure. All right, and that's going to wrap it up as far as episode 1 of our new looping series. I know I didn't talk too much as far as jungle gyms. I know we didn't cover Shack too much or really talk about looping different tiles together. We're going to save that for episode 2. So if you're looking forward to that, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on. That way we can catch you right back here for the next video. And if you made it this far in the video, let me know what you think down below. Good, bad, ugly. Also, make sure you hit that like button. Leaving the comment and the like is going to help us out with that good old YouTube algorithm. Potentially get our content in front of more people. Help other people out with some looping. It is by far the most fun part of Dead by Daylight. As I mentioned previously, we do stream a lot of Dead by Daylight over on my Twitch channel at YoBoyQ. Feel free to pull up. Say what's up. We got plenty of seats anywhere from the front to the back, so feel free to come by and kick back and relax. And again, one more time, we are on that chase for 1,000 subs over here on YouTube, so if you can hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, for real, that'd mean a ton to me. As for now, though, as always, y'all, one last thing I want to ask. With everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere,
Let's go!
game hard and love harder. It's your boy Q, signing out.
If you ain't show-stopping, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as see you in.